Sweet. Uh, Hello, both. Thanks very much for taking the time late on a Wednesday evening to come and chat about something that's pretty inspirational. Obviously, Tony, in the bottom of my screen, just completed the spine race, and it's an absolute privilege to kind of have a bit of a dive in and talk about your experience on the race and everything that came out of it. So by means of like a quick introduction, Tony, do you want to talk us through what got you to the start of the spine? Like, what's your background in ultra running, and what was the motivation for the spine at the end of all that?
Sure. Uh, it's a really good question to kick off with. I guess my background as an ultra runner, I guess it's patchy really. But it's been doing it for maybe 15 years or something like that. Started off quite small with 50s, a few hundred Ks and stuff. Um, Never been a massive racer before. I'm not a prolific racer. I don't put lots of races in the calendar, but I do normally have something mental in the year at some point. Um, and um, some of my favorite things have been like the Bob Graham Round, which still is just a massive highlight in my life. UTMB, and then my mates are probably bored of me telling them about the golden year of 2018 when I managed to podium three races. But I think that was never to be repeated ever again.
Yeah, especially when one of them is your local park run.
Yeah, sadly not. I'm just not a quick runner, so park run will never ever will always be out of my reach. So yeah, I just cannot run fast. I can grind out a fair distance, but just can't run fast. So yeah, 5K park run will be always elusive for me, I think. Um, but yeah, the golden year, the heyday was the Cumbria Way, was the West Highland Way, and I did a couple of the Lakeland Classics that year as well. Did Edale and Wasdale, and I also did the Woolard Trail Marathon, which is just a brutal race as well. And yeah, just had a fantastic year. Um, but that's probably the most I ever raced in a year. But I do tend to put something mad during the year. I'm always working towards something. I think perhaps the birth of my daughter sort of 18 months ago, that was a pretty dry year. I don't think I raced that year.
Yeah,
I think I'll probably be forgiven for that. Um, and then yeah, sort of slowly built up to, I guess, just confidence builds and as you get a bit older, a bit wiser, you kind of realize you can take on more and more. Um, and then when it came around the spine race, I've been watching the spine race for ever since it started. I've been a proper geek dot watcher. Even when I didn't know anyone in the race earlier on, it was always like an unfolding story you could watch for the week. Um, and then and my wife's the same. She would just dot watch it. We'd just have it provide entertainment for the week. And then I think a couple of years ago, I say we because, and we'll probably get onto that in a minute because it takes more than just yourself to get to the start line of the spine race and more than just yourself to finish it as well. But um, Emma was like, "Well, you're gonna do it," and I really wanted to. So missed out that year because it just sold out so fast. And then this year, I was at work. I'm a teacher. I was teaching lessons, and Emma was at home, finger on the button. Actually, I think she was out um, at the time. She had a finger on the button on the mobile app, and she literally was like, "Bye, bye, 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 bye," and she just managed to get in. It sold out in 60 seconds, and got a spot. Um, and that's how that panned out. And then realization sort of starts to sink in that it's going to be happening.
that's mega. And you talked a lot about kind of confidence building there. What was the kind of tipping point with your confidence when you said, I'm kind of ready now. I'm ready to do something huge. Obviously, Spine's 268 miles. For if anyone in the group doesn't know how long it is, how mental it is.
Mm.
Yeah, what was that tipping point for your confidence? Do you think?
Um, I don't remember there being. Oh, it's so weird. It's almost like a leap of faith.
Mm.
Um, because your confidence gets to a point where, oh, I can safely tackle the 100K. I can safely tackle. The level of confidence sort of decreases as the distances get bigger and the conditions get more wild. But 100 miler, I could probably say, yeah, I can confidently finish a 100 miler. But then you start adding in, oh, 100 miler in winter. Well, I'm slightly less confident I can do that. And then you start thinking, how about 268 miles in winter? And you're never fully confident you can do it. So there is always like a leap of faith that you have to sort of take. And then you get on board with the process. You're like, right, I'm committing to this. I'm going to start this. I will do whatever it is within my power to firstly get yourself to the start line, which I think is a massive ordeal. And then once you've started it, it's a huge relief to start the race actually, because you have done so much in terms of preparation. You've done as much as you can in terms of training. And then you get there and like, thank God all of that stuff is over.
Yeah,
I can actually start putting one foot in front of the other, the simple task,
yeah,
and start metering myself out over this ridiculous distance. Uh, and then you've got to mentally break it down. I'm sure we'll talk a bit about that as well. But
yeah,
um, yeah, so there's definitely a leap of faith there. I don't think you can ever feel fully ready. You can never feel fully confident when distances are so big and the conditions can potentially be so crazy. Because you never know what you're going to get with a spine. It could be a cold, hard year like last year, which just made it cold but fast. Um, Years prior to that, you've just had rain all week, which has just made it an absolute bog fest. This year we had a bit of both. We had some rain, some heavy winds. We had really heavily drifted snow. Um, yeah, you never quite know what you're going to get. So a leap of faith, I would say, Ben, if you're thinking about pushing the button tomorrow.
yeah.
Well,
Nice.
listening to that, is it almost a question? This is something I ask myself rather than having confidence to be able to do something, wondering what can I do? Where is the breaking point? What am I capable of? And then just jumping into it.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, it is. You do everything you can, can't you? Don't you, to try and reduce the possibility of not completing it. So you put yourselves into the conditions that you would expect to find in the spine. You put yourself out in the times, the early hours of the morning when you would expect to find yourself out. Um, you put your kit under test. You put your levels of stress under test. And you do what you can. Um, but I still don't think you can fully prepare yourself for how it's going to be. By the time I'd got to the, the third day, I did it in 5.5 days, and by the third day, um, I was like feet were killing me. Like there's massive blisters on both feet. You're exhausted. Um, you're piling on layers, even though it's not that cold because you're just so fatigued. Um, and basically, you're just doing everything you can mentally to basically put the walls up, to stop yourself caving in, basically. And it's incredible to what's incredible is to look at the people around you as well, because there are people you would look at, and if you pass them on the street, you would probably think they are not capable of doing something like this. And and yet mentally they could potentially be 10 times stronger than you. And they no matter at whatever pace they're going to finish. So just I think strength and resilience is just measured in a different way. Um, on the spine, it's not just about the power in your legs, it's about the power in your mind. Um, It was for me anyway, and I think it was for a lot of others as well. Because I'm an average Joe kind of runner, and I say runner because I don't think you can really call it a running race. It's when I looked at Garmin, it was like I think Garmin said I was running for about 25 hours out of the whole thing.
Uh,
The rest of it, you're on a speed march. It's like,
yeah.
you know, so if you're going to do anything, get good at that.
So
Um,
I think that's probably segues into a key question.
yeah.
What did your training look like? And how did you go about mapping that out? Was it super structured? What was your process?
So I think we're all limited by what we can actually fit into our weeks and what we're physically capable of doing. You've got to work with those parameters. So to give you some context, like for the entire summer, I couldn't run because I had chronic sciatica. Um, I couldn't even run the park run. So the first time I got out or was able to get out was in November, and time was ticking by then, and I only had 8 weeks until Christmas. And things were starting to get a bit kind of worrying because I'd done no long stuff all year, pretty much. And so I had to set myself a very sort of realistic program, what would fit in around family, because my wife's an athlete as well, and I want her to get out and do whatever she needs to do. So, and I've got a family to look after too. It's need to be there for them. So I just set myself a realistic program. I said, right, every weekend, I'm going to get out and um, I'm going to do at least 7 hours, and I'm going to try and put that on the course as well. So, and to make sure that I was getting back for the family, I would be setting off at 1 a.m. on a Saturday morning. I'd be heading out to a section of the Pennine Way, and the most demoralizing training runs in it ever are where you're heading out and back.
Yeah.
So I would be
Yeah.
there are just no sections on the Pennine Way you can just turn into a loop for a nice training run.
Yeah.
So I'd be heading out for setting off I'd arrive somewhere at 3 in the morning and I'd be setting out knowing I'm going to go 15 miles in that direction. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to go 15 miles back. And every step forward you take, you think, I'm going to have to turn around and go back.
Yeah.
And so I do that every week. I did that every weekend for 8 weeks. And I put every one of those sessions into like a race simulation. So every time I would go out with full race kit that's fully packed for the spine, with food that was prepped for a spine leg, so loads more than I needed. I had 3,000 calories in there. Um, and every one of those 8 runs, I got back and recorded how much I ate, how much I drank, how I felt, and how much charge there was left in my phone, how much charge there was left in my battery, because logistics for this thing are just monumental. And I'd make notes for everyone. And then in the week, I'm really lucky because when my wife was pregnant, we bought an elliptical trainer. And in the week, I would just get up at 5 in the morning and I'd do an hour and a half on that twice before work, and a couple of weight sessions in the week, and then that's it. So 2 ellipticals, 2 weights, one massive run, which needed a little taper before and after. And that was me. Just stuck to that for 8 weeks.
That's legit. Do you think
Yeah,
the out and back nature of your training runs at stupid o'clock in the morning helped you mentally prepare? Because, like you said, there's every step you take forward, you're going to have to turn back. So, the logical step is I may as well just turn around. So, do you think those mental battles helped?
definitely. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Some of those mornings, you're heading out into storms and into rain and into awful conditions as well. And yeah, you just don't want to do it. But that is putting yourself into spine conditions and spine mindset. So it was the only strength I had that I knew I had um, going into the race. And like we were saying earlier, it was one of those things that gave me a little bit of confidence and they enabled me to sort of get to the start line and feel okay, I might be able to do this.
Yeah, that's mega. It's probably quite a nice segue to kind of dive into the race as well. Just conscious of time, it'd be really good to hear from you. Like, can you talk us through the how obviously the race is enormous, but can you talk us through like how you broke it up and then how you felt at the various legs of it?
Yeah, sure. So,
40
first
minutes
day,
itself,
yeah,
but
yeah, sorry, yeah. First day was just euphoric. It was like we set off in blue skies and with fresh snow on the floor,
yeah,
and we set off up Jacob's Ladder, and it was just incredible. Big smiles, blue skies, and it was just great. And snow was hard packed, so it was easy to actually got a bit of running done that day. And I arrived at Hebden Bridge an hour and a half upon where I thought I might be. So, moods are good. We've just put 44 miles in, and everyone's feeling great. And then you get to a checkpoint and you're confronted with your drop bag for the first time, and you're like, you're trying to avoid an admin explosion where, you open your drop bag and just like start pulling stuff out. So you try and come in with a level head, and that was okay on checkpoint one. My head was still fairly level. It's like, right, I need to do this, 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 and this. Yeah, got that done. Um, and then you're away. Only plan to stop for an hour and a half at checkpoint one. It's one of the big things that a lot of people try and do is push through to the second checkpoint with and get there for a proper rest. Because as soon if you can do that, then you can get into a rhythm where you can push to each checkpoint. You'll end up there late in an evening, and you can basically trick yourself into thinking you've done a day, had some food, had some sleep, and you're up again in the morning and you're away. In reality, you've arrived on an evening, you've scoffed some food, you've done your admin, you may have got your head down for 2 hours, and you've got back up on the same day, and then you repack your stuff and you're out. And so you're just tricking your mind and tricking your body into thinking, I've had a decent night's sleep and some food, and it's the next day. No, it's the same day. And you crack on. But that second leg, after Hebden Bridge was a massive struggle for me. I got a couple of hours into that. It was supposed to be a 20 hour, I predicted about 20 hours, took 28. And we encountered, this is where we encountered like the slushy knee-high bogs and snowdrifts, and the pace just came down. It got really cold, we got really tired, and we a particular low point is where I got to just come off the Pen y Ghent down to Horton in Ribblesdale, and you start a section called they call it the Cam Highway. It's another 14 and 15 miles before you do that, and then you get into Hawes for your checkpoint. And I got a couple of miles into that, and I'm seeing stars, floors moving. I'm hunched over, and I'm getting cold and really, really fatigued. Luckily, I was running with a mate at the time, and I said, because once you commit to that section, you can't get off. And if you have an issue, you're going to need mountain rescue to get you down. And I said to the guy, look, I'm 2 miles in. I can't, if I go any further, I'm going to be in trouble. I'm going to call it here. I've hit my criteria for pulling out. I'm absolutely done in. And he took me into doing a few more miles. And I don't know whether that was a little bit reckless, knowing that at that point I'm committing to another 8 hours of graft. And in the state I was in, it was a bit, is this a safe thing to do or not? So but nevertheless went for it and managed to battle through it. But that was the lowest point of the whole thing. Had I not been had someone there that I'd known, I think it probably would have been a bit unsafe, and I probably would have been justified in my mind to pull out at that point. I was already 60 hours into like having no sleep, and um, but everyone struggles on that section. But then the following day, I got up and I was like, well, I'll just get up, get my kit ready, and then we'll just see how it goes. Set off running, and away we went. Did tons of running on that third day, and things were just great. Um, yeah, and then after that, it was just one foot in front of the other, and keeping trying to trick your brain into you've had you'd only get 2 hours. Well, I say you got 2 hours sleep.
Rose, and I think
Yeah, I've lost them as well.
give him a second.
But you put your head down for 2 hours, you probably wouldn't get any sleep because your legs are throbbing. And I'm still here. You okay?
You just froze up for a second there. I think we've got you back.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm still here.
Yeah, we've got you.
Good, good. Um, yeah, so the I think things that probably went sideways. I think I planned 115 hours for the whole thing and I did 126. And things that went sideways was the 8 hours on the leg two. Just the conditions were absolutely horrific. And I think you probably need longer in the checkpoints than I'd planned for. Um, but it's weirdly, I was running with a lot of people who'd done the spine before. You find
mm,
there's a lot of crazy people out there that will just go again and again and again. And
yeah,
I didn't understand it uh, then. I didn't understand. I only just started to understand it now because they practice this thing called spinecraft. So all this planning and logistics and like weaseling it all out and working it all out, what you're going to do here, what you're going to do there. They absolutely love it. They absolutely
yeah,
love it. It's addictive, all this strategic planning. And I get it now. But I thought at the time, I'm running with someone who's done it 4 times. I'm like, you're absolutely mad. One, it costs a fortune. It's like, how can you afford to do this? It's like,
yeah,
so yeah, but I'm starting to appreciate that now. So I think my plan, I think as a first timer, the plan I'd got 115, I did it 126 based on, I'm happy with that.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. We were watching your dot, and like you say, when you first kicked off, you were absolutely flying, but
Yeah,
just getting through it alone is an absolutely incredible achievement. It's just such a tough undertaking, and I think hard to simulate in training. So
it
you
is.
to get yourself to those depths, physical and
Mm,
mental in training is virtually impossible unless you're going for that amount of time.
yeah.
Um, so you've touched upon your lowest point there. What would you say was your highest point in the race other than finishing?
Hmm. Uh, yeah, I think I can't underestimate what a relief it is to get to the start line. Understate, sorry. It's the level of like kit preparation, and I swear there was kit arriving every other day and I'm trying it on and sending it back and like doing like just ridiculous amounts of like planning and prep. And it is such a relief to be on the start line and just have your bag packed and that's it. That is quite a buzz. I think that there were just some arriving at checkpoints was both sort of scary and quite relieving as well. And I guess those were nice points. But um, I think the real high points were actually probably a little bit hallucinatory, if you like. They were like in the night times and like the early hours of the morning and like when the sun rises and it's just and the absolute giggles that you have with people that you're with. I mean, we were approaching Hadrian's Wall at about 5 a.m. in the morning, and we found a public toilet that was heated. And so we just ducked in there for like 10 minutes, warmed ourselves up, and just absolutely pissed ourselves because we're like, just what are we doing? Sat in the toilets. It's like, and then in the next toilet, there were three guys asleep.
Brilliant.
It's like all this like opportunistic resting, just getting out the cold for a few minutes, just absolutely turned morale around. It's
yeah,
incredible. And I've got a selfie with me and this lad sort of sat on this bog floor, like with our feet next to this heater, and it's just Moments like that, you just look back and just think absolutely hilarious. And then
Excellent.
yeah, and some other like crazy moments in the early. It's always the early hours of the morning. Like you're just doing daft stuff, and my mate sticks his phone on, and he's got like, says, "Oh, I put this playlist on when we're cooking tea with the kids, and he's got this pizza party playlist." And Taylor Swift comes on, and like we're just singing and dancing to Taylor Swift, and he's like trying to do the moves while we're walking along, and it's just ridiculous stuff like that. But you've got to do it, and then oh, just the surreal things as well. So I learned the art of catnapping. Sorry, I've digressed slightly now, but I've never done this before. I'm not a very good sleeper anyway at the best of times, but it's amazing how well you can sleep after you've got 130 miles under your belt. And it's quite a bold strategy to do it the way we did it, arriving at checkpoints, sorting your admin out, 2 hours kip, and then out. Because you're always heading out into a nighttime, and it always ends up you're in a tricky navigation section. So we're trying to navigate this moor, like just completely featureless. There's rat runs everywhere, and we're absolutely hanging. And the floor's moving, and we're seeing stars. And we're like, uh, and my mate says we're gonna have to take 10 here because like he's wobbling around, seeing stars and stuff like that. So we literally just hoy ourselves into the grass. I set a timer for 10 minutes and like go, and we were both out like lights. I heard him snoring first, and then I was shortly after, and then the alarm goes. We've had 10 minutes, and you've managed to trick yourself again into thinking you've had some sleep, and it gets you through another few miles. And so get up and then crack on and get this stupid moor done. I swear that the Pennine Way is just someone has taken a pen and they've connected about five or six, maybe seven nice places, but in between they've just gone across all the muddiest, boggiest fields you could find, and all the moors in England. That's what they've done. That's how they've connected the Pennine Way together. So you've got these beautiful spots, and then you've got these minging, boggy, muddy fields and moors to get through in between. Absolutely just mind sapping.
Yeah. What were the like wildest hallucinations you had when you were out on course?
Oh God, see it just like I swear there was just snakes all over the floor. Just
That's not even like
like
what you want. It's just horrendous, isn't it?
yeah, I just all the shadows that the grass is making, it just looks like it's slithering across the floor. Oh yeah,
Brilliant.
Again,
yeah.
Um, so I think we've probably covered the closest point of quitting, how you overcame that. One of the questions that I had from the group was, when you tend to get into these sorts of events and you're going long, irrespective of what you've been eating, you just start to think about food constantly. Was there any particular food that you were just dreaming about over and over throughout the race?
Um, there wasn't not there wasn't particular. I spent a lot of time planning my food, and like I had a variety of things, all of which went down really well. So I had like chocolate bars, like nuts. I had jerky. I had like some chocolate covered Kendall mint cake and all that stuff. And I was just going through sweet and savory on a rotation, not in any particular order, but just that's what I had on me. And then you'd have like you'd be wandering past a cafe and you'd literally dive in for a bacon sarnie and a cup of tea. And when you go through a village or something, and then on the checkpoints you get really well fed, and it's just non-stop food. So, I'm going for two helpings of like mains, and I'm going for two helpings of dessert before I even start thinking about repacking my bag. And then so no, food was no issue. Interestingly about food, I planned about 3,000 calories for each leg, and you find that your body starts to adapt after a couple of days. You're finding that there is a bit of appetite suppression on long distance stuff anyway, but you find that you don't really need as much as you did at the beginning, and you don't really want it either, and you're not really having any side effects from that either. So I found that each of my drop bags, each of my food packs that I have for each leg, I was needing less and less because I was putting what I didn't use straight back into these bags. And so a bit geeky like that. So I could just see what I ended up eating over the whole thing anyway.
Mm.
Um, and yeah, so you didn't need as much. And all these opportunistic, anytime there was food being offered, take it. It's amazing how sort of restorative a cup of tea is and a bit of cake. I think that's I can pretty much live on tea and cake, I think.
Yeah. Sound like a
Incredible.
pretty gourmet.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It all looked very gourmet when you'd had like when you were that tired and that fatigued.
Yeah.
I did crack up the staff at one of the checkpoints because I again we'd arrived in an evening, done the whole drill, like got it. I didn't get really good at this like checkpoint drill until about checkpoint three. And I was like, right, I'm starting to nail this now. You arrive, like, eat some food, pack your bag, get your head down. And I got up again, and the guys are there, like, oh, what do you want to eat? I was like, oh, could I get some porridge? And they're like, porridge. And I'm looking around, and everyone's eating lasagna and chili and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's the same day. It's like, it's 8 o'clock in the evening. Oh,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
okay, I'm with you now. And they're
Yeah.
like, no, don't worry. I'll go and get some porridge for you. So
That's class.
so when I got some porridge for us, that was nice.
Amazing. We're going to cut off in 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So there's probably one question there that I think we've got time to cover. Kit
Okay.
wise, was there anything that you just thought that above all else worked really well? That was bang on.
Uh yeah, there was two things. So like trying to find a rucksack for this thing is like really hard because you don't want anything too massive. And also you want a lot of like kind of storage up front so you can access things on the move. You don't really want to be getting into the bag unless you need anything desperately. So I ended up getting one off AliExpress in the end. I just found it, I just looked at it, I thought that looks about right, took a chance on it, and it was absolutely perfect. So yeah, some Chinese knockoff bag was absolutely perfect. And then all the bum bag was amazing. So all your scran goes into a bum bag because then you can just like whip it around, like eat your socks off, and then just whip it back again. No messing. And so I think I got I got my bag sorted. So both of those work really well. The waist bag and the rucksack thing were definitely worth investigating and working out what works for you. Um, yeah, there were, I think I was quite happy with the kit in the end. And yeah, the other stupid thing was like it was a balaclava buff thing. It was like 14 quid for two off Amazon. But it just meant that I didn't have to like keep faffing with a hat. It was already there. It was a neck thing and a hat, and it was just like it was just there the whole time. So I didn't have to worry about it. When you get knackered, you just cannot be bothered faffing around with stuff. But that's when you lose things.
Awesome.
It's funny how
Right.
simple it comes in it. Yeah.
I suggest we wrap it there because I think Zoom's just going to like just automatically kick us out in a second.
Yeah, no
Um,
worries.
that's been incredible.
Can I just
Thank you for that.
can I say one thing, guys, before it cuts us off? It was an absolute privilege to do this race. Like, I feel very fortunate to do it because it's a semi-safe environment. It costs a lot of money to do it. You know, and I'm lucky that I had a supportive partner to who didn't mind me spending the money on it. And really, it's just it was me basically exercising my own demons and testing myself. And for that, I'm really grateful.
Mate,
Amazing.
that's mega. What a privilege. Thanks, mate.
No
Thank you
worries.
so much for that. That's been incredible.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Cheers.